Hey, we got ourselves some opening Reaper harass, which, because I'm not super familiar with either the map layout or the fact that Protoss can just open Adept, which is a ranged dude that can kick a Reaper's butt, I completely failed at, killing nothing and losing my $100 Reaper. So he starts the game a little bit ahead of us. I went CC first and he went Nexus first. His Nexus finished before my CC. Very unfortunate. I'm thinking about 1-1-1 because the game I played just before this one, I lost to a Terran who went 1-1-1. And I'm like, wait, Marines, tanks, Banshee, and some medevacs is like standard from HOTS. Why not use that? It's actually standard from before HOTS. So now he's going to send his first two Adepts across the field. And we are going to see something that I had never seen before. If you're like me and you have no idea what these things are, you can see that they do 23 freaking damage to light. They only cost 100 minerals and 25 gas. They're got a range of 4 and weapon speed of 1.6, and they walk at a movement speed of 3.5, and none of that means anything unless you compare it to something. So here's a Marine to compare it to, right? He does 6 damage every 0.61, so 3 shots of a Marine is equal to 1 shot of this guy. 3 shots from an early Marine does 18 damage, whereas this guy does 23, so more damage per second than a Marine, but not by a lot, so his DPS isn't really that insane. But the big deal is that he can 2-shot a worker, which means 2 of them can 1-shot workers, and he can send these little ghosts up here, and at the end of the cooldown of that ghost being sent somewhere, he teleports to the ghost, and then he can immediately cast another ghost. The ghost is invincible, can't be killed, and it moves ridiculously fast, like faster than any normal unit that anyone else has. So I follow the ghosts, and then he cancels the ghosts, and he just keeps killing SCVs, so he's killed currently a $650 worth of SCVs. I don't know why this says that he's lost $1,000. I guess every time he loses a ghost, it pretends that he lost a ghost. So the units lost tab is completely stupid. So yeah, what's the units lost tab? Where's that? Maybe it's like units killed. Control R. There we go. He's killed 19 workers. That's insane. So 2 Adepts killed 19 workers, and this is not because Adepts are overpowered, it's because I didn't realize how Adepts work. Now the easiest counter in the world is just to raise this depot and not let the ghosts into my main base in the first place, and then he can only harass one base, I can keep my army in one place, and he can't kill anything. So it's all entirely my fault. I'm not saying anything is overpowered here, I'm saying, wow, I didn't realize he could do that, and he killed a ton of crap. And that's going to be a theme throughout this game. I have very little familiarity with the new units or how they work. This is the first TvP I've played where my opponent actually made units and attacked me. Every other TvP, because there's no ladder, there's no MMR, you don't get matched against people roughly equal to you in skill. You just get matched randomly with whoever happened to queue up. I've always just won every one of my TvPs with like 8 Marines, and that's just the end of the game, or whatever. So here he comes with 2 Oracles. Out of, does he have 2 starports or 1 star? Yeah, he's got a starport here, and that's it. I've got a Banshee killing a couple of workers, 3 workers, 4 workers. He's building cannons. I think he had a cannon up here that I forced him to cancel. Look at this Stasis ward, though. This Stasis ward is going to be like the thing that we talk about for the rest of our lives. This Adept popped back in just to distract me, but he didn't get any kills. My Banshee has Cloak and got 6 worker kills, and this Cloak detecting cannon is going to spawn without me looking at my Banshee and do a couple more hits. So now he's so low in health that I'm too worried to actually do anything very intimidating with him. So I'm just going to camp him on top of this base, kill 1 more worker for a total of 7 worker kills. And these Oracles are going to continue to rack up the workers killed. He's up to 27. 28 workers killed. I killed 1 Oracle with a mine. Again, Oracle's very easy to counter with just a turret. I didn't even think of it. I'm very rusty, and I'm very awful. That's that. I mean, that's an overstatement. I'm not very awful, but I mean, it's not like I didn't see his starport, right? I saw his starport as it was building. I had all the time in the world to react to it and throw it on a turret. So it's all entirely my fault. Every one of these 28 dead workers is my own fault. So now this guy's killing a Nexus because that's totally going to work out. I love this Stasis Ward, but we won't talk about it until we see it in action, man. Oracles get this new ability called Stasis Ward that they can throw down for just 50 energy. It takes them a long time to place, and it's killable during that time, and then it becomes cloaked, but that doesn't mean it's permanently cloaked, but you can still see it with a Raven or a Scan, right? And you could theoretically kill it before it goes off. Another ability of the Oracle is they can spot an AoE group of units. So if we go to his view, he can watch my whole army. It's not like I can take the one unit that's been parasited and move it away. Like he can see everything. So here I come with let's check like army size. My army size is dramatically bigger than his, right? Because he's got 3 bases and I only have 2. He's spending all his chronos on buildings and cannons especially, and you can't move cannons from base to base to do stuff with them. So my army is bigger than his. Where's the active army? Active forces, maybe? Does this exclude workers, I hope? So yeah, my active army is much bigger than his, and more importantly, the composition that I went for, like Marine, Tank, Marauder, Medevac, with mines and 2 tanks, and is easily capable of killing his army of 5 Stalkers and 2 Oracles. Like, if there was a way to just straight up fight, I would easily win. But he's going to very cleverly use these stasis mines. It's not like... It's just that I don't even know stasis mines, you know? Like, I walk in with my army and bam, half my army can't do anything, right? So I'm like, oh, my army is more than big enough to kill 5 Stalkers, a Mothership Core, and 3 cannons. But not when half of it takes a nap mid-fight. So now I'm down to basically 2 Marauders, a Marine, and a tank and an SCV, and 2 mines. So he's going to move out and try to snipe the snake. Did you see that? The tank. Did you see that? I picked up a tank that was sieged. Early siege drops are a common tactic now because you can pick up tanks without unsieging them. Another stasis mine traps my entire army. Now, again, he only has 4 Stalkers and one of them is really low on health. I had more than enough to easily kill his whole army, but now that my whole army is basically gone because of the stasis, his 4 Stalkers can easily chase away my 2 Medevacs, 1 Marauder, and 1 tank, right? Also, he has 4 more Adepts right here, and also he's crazy rich. I mean, let's not underestimate the effect that his lack of macro is having. He got such a huge economic lead by killing 28 early workers and taking a 3rd before I even fully saturated my 2nd, that he's got a huge economic lead, but he's being hampered by the fact that he can't spend that money, right? He's got warp gates, only 3 of them, and a starport and 2 robos. Well, 4 warp gates, a starport, and 2 robos. And remembering to actually warp things in as soon as your warp gates are on cooldown isn't something that everyone can do in the universe. Also, every time he has to warp in zealots or adepts, he falls a little bit behind where he would have been on just on spending if he had spent the same amount of money. I mean, the same warp cooldown on a much more expensive stalker, right? So the amount of warp gates you need changes depending on what you build out of them. It's kind of complicated to macro correctly. So he's not macroing very well at all. I've got way too much gas and not enough minerals because I keep seeing things that I think Marines can kill, and so I keep spending all my minerals on Marines. My macro seems better than his just because I have less money, so it's easier for me to spend it. All these cannons are meaning, and stasis wards are meaning that no matter how small his army is, my army can't kill it because I keep stepping on stupid stasis wards. Now I could scan ahead, kill the stasis wards before they go off, and kill him. Again, just like the early harass with the Adept, this is all my fault. He catches me in a fight when I'm not looking, so with only 5 Zealots, 2 Stalkers, Mothership Core, and an Immortal, he's able to kill a pretty large army, though honestly his army in this location is probably bigger than mine because I left half my army at home by accident. So he pushes me back and forces me to run away, mostly because my unsieged tanks got instantly sniped and I didn't just run. Like, I'm faster than him, I could have just run away, but this thing, not this one but the other one, is another new unit. So it goes immune to damage and runs at an insane speed and then pops, and anything it's near when it pops dies. It does just like, I don't even know, 145 splash damage when it pops. So watch this. Boom! 16 infantry. He just killed probably like 2 Marauders plus 14 Marines, which is like $950 worth of stuff, and I doubt a disruptor costs $950. So also think about like a Raven. A Raven costs $300. If this guy, I don't know what he costs, but let's just assume it's about $200. If he just walks up, I don't think he hits air, but you know, if there's a unit on the ground that costs $300 and he suicides to kill it, he's so fast, he's 100% guaranteed to hit at least one unit. So if you just pick a really expensive unit, like a tank costs $325, right? So if he just goes up to a tank, he's guaranteed to kill more than he costs, right? He's guaranteed to make up for it. Then it's also sometimes, as you can see by this guy, sometimes possible to kill stuff and then survive. Like, it's not even necessarily suicide. So now he's killed 32 things. This one unit has killed about 3,000 resources worth of troops. That's insane. So I really wanted to show you guys that. I mean, the whole replay is only being cast because of that. The early Adept harass is like a warning to people. Did you know they could cancel their Adept teleportation? I didn't know that, and because I didn't know that, I died. Okay, did you know that Oracles can, you know, wipe out your whole SCV army if you don't build one freaking turret? Yes, I actually did know that, but I'm stupid enough that I didn't do it anyway. Then this guy gives him vision so that he can do more sniping with his disruptors. I think he's... Oh, also, I didn't get many upgrades because, like I said, I'm so used to winning games quickly and easily that I didn't even like think about the long game. So I made a Raven. This is the first, last, and only Raven I'm going to make all game. But the important thing about this Raven is if he tries to place stasis wards, the Raven can spot them. So this battle is going quite well for me. You see, he killed 2 tanks and a Marine. And just by killing 2 tanks and a Marine, that's... 650, 700 bucks for that one disruptor. These 2 disruptors were a much worse trade. They killed 1 Marine for 2 disruptors. That was a horrible trade. But yeah, his disruptors are being very cost effective. So the disruptors are too fast. If you try to just stim and run away, I don't think you're fast enough to escape. So rather than trying to escape the disruptors, or this is what Ketrock tells me, he has more practice than I do, though neither of us really has very much practice in this. Ketrock says, rather than try to escape, you should just focus on splitting and making sure it only kills 1 unit. But what if that 1 unit is a tank, right? If he kills 1 tank, he pays for himself. So I don't know. Maybe you could pick up all your tanks with medevacs and then spread your Marines and Marauders, and then reland your tanks all before the enemy army comes in. But what if he does it while his army is charging you? I do know that disruptors kill friendly units, so it does friendly fire. So he can't bring a bunch of zealots and a disruptor, or because he'll kill his own zealots. So, I like the unit a lot. Me and Ketrock played a ton of 2v2s, and I got to use disruptors against the enemy, and it felt so fun. It's just really fun. You make this unit that's guaranteed to kill at least 1 enemy unit, and often kills 16 or 20. That's so fun to use. We were playing Archon mode. Archon mode is another new thing, which is basically the macro micro custom game, except for sanctioned by... See, I killed that stasis ward. So even without focusing on it, your guys, as long as you have a Raven with your army, will automatically kill stasis wards before they go off. So stasis wards are countered by 1 Raven. So keep that in mind every time I lose a huge battle because I don't snipe the stasis wards. It's all my fault. I should have had 1 Raven with me. That guy kills 5 Marine Marauders. That probably didn't pay for himself. That's probably 1 Marauder and 4 Marines, which is like 325. Actually, that probably does pay for itself. That guy killed at least 6 Marauders, which is like 800. This guy's going to kill a ton of Zealots, and... Now, yeah, he killed 4 Zealots and 1 Marine, so he definitely didn't pay for himself. These Vikings kind of... I don't know why I made so many Vikings. The Stalkers and Marines are not paying for themselves down on the ground. I think I came out way ahead on this fight until right there, and now the fight's kind of over. But again, pure Stalker. I've got a tank, a Marauder, and some of these dudes, so I'm like, might as well just land these dudes and kill them. I'll probably only lose 3 or 4. So I kill all the Stalkers while only losing 3 Vikings, and then this guy, boom, pops 4 Vikings. Each Viking is what? 175, so 4 Vikings, that's just a lot. It's a lot. Let's just say 2, 4, 6, 8, less than 800, but not by too much. And this guy killing 1 tank, again, that's worth it. Kills 1 tank. Now I'm starting to make BCs, because BC's got a new teleport ability that I want to play with, and just because BCs are fun. They force people to get anti-air units when they don't necessarily need them. But these are unupgraded crap BCs, because another change from Heart of the Swarm to Legacy of the Void is that the upgrades are no longer shared. So ground upgrades are separate from air upgrades, which means my BCs are going to suck. He sends a couple zealots up north, which standard movements. I don't want to pay too much attention to the macro in this game because I looked at the graphs at the end of the game, and we were basically even on resources mined and resources spent. So macro didn't play into it. And that's actually a bad thing, because it means that despite killing 29 workers early, he didn't manage to outmine me, which just means I'm a much better player than him. I mean, that's embarrassing. If you kill 29 workers early, you should mine more than me. It's just one of the rules of StarCraft. So, yeah, and he's suiciding his zealots into a PF. Not sure what's going on with that. He really should have had a lot more gateways. He did make a lot more gateways, but still not necessarily enough. They take up so much space that it's easy to think, oh yeah, 8 is good enough, but I don't know. He's still only really on 3 mining bases, so maybe 8 is enough. I don't know. He's just having trouble spending all his money is my point. So stasis mines, I finally get my BCs out, and I want my surprise I have BCs moment to be really effective. But stasis mines, again, I think I even still have my Raven. Or if I don't know what happened to it. Yeah, my Raven died somehow, but if my Raven hadn't died, then none of this would have happened. So now all of my stuff gets stasised, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'll wait around for my stasis stuff. But just like against a normal Protoss, Archon, Colossus type army, I don't know how to fight while keeping my guys spread out. There's so much AoE stuff going on, like stasis. And I know if I clump my guys up too much, then these dudes are going to just be able to kill my whole army at once. So my BCs are just kind of press their advantage a little bit. He's got a bunch of DTs, I think, that just warped into Archons, and oh, that was a crazy amount of units killed. I don't even have a slight estimate of how many that was, but the DTs literally kill all of my army on the ground except what stasis, and the stasis wears off, and the Archons start to kill that. And again, he's got a slightly bigger army than me at this point, but because my Raven's dead, I can't see the DTs, and I finally scan after the battle's been over for a long time, and I'm like, whoops, I guess there were DTs there. So that was kind of a huge mistake, series of mistakes by me. Not a good attempt at pressing. And my strategy so far, because like I said, this is not MMR based, so it's not like, you play progressively harder people until they start beating you, and then you play easier people until you start winning, and then you play harder people until you start beating them, like on the ladder. This is unranked, so I play randomly whoever happens to be on, so I haven't had a chance to really kind of refine which part of my game needs improvement. So I've been having a lot of trouble just keeping up on macro, just making enough bases and putting enough workers in enough places, that I haven't been microing things like at all, and my unit compositions are all ridiculous, and my upgrades are all ridiculous, like 1-2 against probably 3-3 on the ground, 2-1-3 on the ground. And his composite, like, I see Mass Archon with stasis fields and oracles. Oracles are basically just stasis fields at this point. I mean, they can theoretically do damage, but he's not going to engage Marines with oracles. So these orange things, Disruptors, make me not really want to use Marines in a big clump. And these Archons make me not really want to use flying units. So I made a couple of Liberators. I'm not even, like... Liberators are another new unit that you need to get a specific upgrade to make them hit the ground, and I didn't get it. So they're basically just nonsense. They're like AoE Vikings. They're like Valkyries. They shoot air in a splash sort of way. So I shouldn't have gotten them. They're not doing anything. They're useless. So the Archons are easily killing the BCs. These Disruptors are easily killing everything on the ground. And my Viking Liberator army has nothing to shoot at, because it's not like they have any flying units that fight anyway. Their only flying units are for placing these stasis wards literally everywhere. So I need another Raven. Their anti-air isn't really good enough to kill Ravens. So yeah, I would have easily been able to keep it alive if I got another Raven, I think. And now he's starting to add Tempests. So Tempest, Archon, Disruptor. This is a ridiculously expensive army per supply. And so that means, of course, if we both max out, he's got a huge advantage, but I don't even think he's going to get close to maxing out. He suicides a couple of Oracles by accident, and now he's engaging with pure Archon and nothing else against my Clump Marine Marauder, which easily destroys all the Archons. That was a silly thing for him to engage with. He should have brought in these guys first. Right? Forced me to run away as the Archons kill stuff. So now he pops in, kills a bunch of infantry. I don't know if I like the idea of him using all three at once. He should have sent one in and then sent another in and then sent another in, so I have to constantly be splitting my army while his other troops are shooting, and I'm not shooting because I'm trying to split my army. Another 2 stasis traps go off, neutralizing all of my remaining ground forces, and now it's like 1 BC against 2 Tempests. I'm still mining more than him. But a lot of what I'm mining is gas that I can't really spend because I don't have the minerals to spend the gas while also making Marines, and I feel like Marines are pretty essential to killing the Zealots and the Archons. Also, I feel like every time these guys go off, if they kill a mech unit, they pay for themselves. If they kill 1 mech unit, they pay for themselves. But it takes like 7 Marines killed just to pay for yourself. So often they pay for themselves against Marines and Marauders, and often they don't. Like if he sends 3 in and all 3 die, and he kills all of these units, that's probably breaking even for me. That's probably good enough. Whereas if I made more expensive mech units, then he could just kill them and be guaranteed to pay for itself. So I might be wrong, but I do feel like Marine Marauder is a reasonable counter to the things specifically made to kill Marine Marauder. I don't know, it seems a little weird. Active army, we're still basically even. He's ahead by only 600, but his army is unreachable. And now he's going to do this Warp Prism deploy right on top of me. My only fighting unit remaining, the Thor, gets stasis and they just warps in a couple of Zealots, and that's the end of that. So now I'm making kind of a BC Viking to combat the Tempests, and that means that the Zealots get to kill everything on the ground. And he's finally trading successfully against my army in a way that's eventually going to overrun me and make me sad. He also finally has enough gateways to spend his money. This is the first time all game his money has dropped down to 0. I never killed any of his bases, I don't think. I think total workers killed for me was like 1 base, and that's it. I didn't do any drop harass. I'm basically spending my entire extremely limited 40 APM, or an average of 82, on expanding and making units, and that's it. I'm not microing them during fights. This is pretty typical of me, and I'm able to win a lot of games doing this, so really, my philosophy is I will macro quite well, and then hopefully you will die of old age or something. He's going to kill a PF while he's chasing down the middle stuff, and I never managed to kill all of this, so the rest of the game isn't really worth watching. I'm just gonna maybe 8x it and go, hey look, I keep making Vikings and I don't manage to kill anything, and that's the end. So my army size is 0 while his is 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, and 0 against 9,000, 8,000, whatever it is. Yeah, has never been a very good, like if you were betting on the ponies, I wouldn't be your special pony man. You'll notice I left without saying GG. I don't subscribe to your stupid StarCraft chat regulations. I don't say anything all game. Pretend that I don't speak English. I don't think it's rude. If you do, you're wrong. The end.